Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. And, oh, snap, I forgot to shut this. Alright, so here we are again. First of all, I would like to thank you all for stopping by. And this is going to be. I want a lot more input on this. So anybody familiar with anything that goes on in the spiritual realm? Okay, in the spiritual realm, I would like for y'all to have some input on this particular video today. All right, now basically, we're going to deal with the Willy Lynch letter and all the stuff that goes with that. Okay, so before we get started, let me greet everybody. Bonjour, mes amis. Quelle bonne konnichiwa. Ni hao ni ama. Sari bonani. Jambo habayani. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Kamusta ka? Kamusta po kayo? Kalava lava soy po. To my brother out there in Hawaii. So what's up? What's up to everybody up in here? All right, and so basically, we got a lot of deep issues to cover. All right, we got a lot of deep issues to cover. Now, I know this is going to be kind of pretty weird. All right. This is going to be kind of be a pretty weird goings on today. Potentially. But in order to break some stuff down, I want y'all to understand some things. I want y'all to understand who we are. I want you to understand who we are. Because everybody in the world know who we are. All right, everyone in the world knows who we are. Who we are right here, the Afro people in America. The world knows. All right. So I'm gonna do this real quick because I'm gonna just keep this rolling, right? For those of you who are in here right now, all right, as you see, I just put in the link, so copy it. All right, I put in the link for those of you that are going to add to this, is because this is going to be a discussion that we as Afro men should be having. This is a discussion for us as Afro men to be having. And it's okay for our sisters to listen to this. Remember, they weren't created to solve these problems, right? And they were created to be our helpmeet so that we can solve these problems. Because if it comes down to it, if the resolution of a problem is to go to war, it's the man that's supposed to go to that solves the problem. If the resolution of the problem is to fight, it's the man, and it's the man that's supposed to know when to, how to negotiate, and to have the ability to negotiate from a sense of power. This is why I won't. I never denied these dudes that cry out, "Oh, we had women queens Yeah, but the kingdom didn't last past that woman, nor did anything she was ruling. The only people that have that right now is England, and that's because they worship the family, the royal family. All right. And they, in England, have placed the royal family above themselves as other human beings. Remember, they're royal. So in England, royalty gives them power over the English to the point that, well, that is against scripture for us to do. All right, so I want y'all to understand us. Us, the people of the Most High. Remember, the New Testament was not a religion. It was a history taken out of context. And only by looking at Enoch, the book of Jasher, and all the books they tried to keep out of there, which are also going to have discrepancies. But only by looking at those can you gain some semblance of what kind of history we had. Now, what is without a doubt is the commandments. Our freedom lies in the commandments. Our freedom lays in the commandments. Starting with Genesis, when the Most High told the woman that the man does rule over you. All right, so let me greet everybody up. What's up, Carlos? Hey, what's up, King Groove? Simplified Texas Marine. Hey, what's going down, Daniel? Lamont, hey, what's going on? Rayshawn Irvin, what's up? What's up, brother? Simplified USMC vet. Hey, what's up, David Bowman? Hey, what's going down, Michael Duncan? Hey, what's up, Rayshawn? I saw USMC vet in here somewhere. Okay. So, as we try to figure these things out, okay, I want y'all to put some stuff together. All right, I want y'all to put some stuff together. All right, I want y'all to be able to put some things together. And this is why, even though I don't vote, I pay attention to what's going on politically. I pay attention to the laws that are being passed. All right, whether they are just or unjust. I don't follow anything that's against the commandments. I used to come close to it, but the more and more I see the corruption, and here's the thing, I don't follow any laws that the lawmakers exempt them from. All right. So understand that I don't follow any laws that lawmakers exempt themselves from. Now, y'all saw the Super Bowl halftime performance. All right. I, for one, did not watch any part of the Super Bowl because I don't watch that. When it stopped being a competition, I knew it was a religion. The Super Bowl is part of a religion. It's something that everybody do religiously. Every Sunday morning, they watch Super Bowl, watch football. They got a whole thing of worship where everybody buys all the stuff. And one of the reasons you know that this sports stuff have turned into a religion. Hold on for a second. Wait a minute. Let's do something different. All right. Let me do this. One moment, brethren. So basically, I switched platforms, and hopefully we'll do better here. All right. So basically, when we're looking at everything, right? When we are looking at everything, you got to be aware of the messaging that they are trying to send us. All right. You have to be aware of the messaging that they are trying to send us. And in this messaging, if you don't know what's really going on, you got problems. Now, the reason why I put Beyonce there up front first is there's a particular brand of messaging that started with her, where instead of everybody being targeted, we, the Afro people, became the target. And not simply us, not just us. All right. Hey, what's up, Lord Vita? All right, not just us. We weren't just the only targets at first. Everybody was a target. Everybody was the target. The religion was for everybody, right? Then we got a few people that were put in office, and now we have been targeted for destruction. Afro people in America have been targeted for destruction by the elites. Kelly Gu. I want y'all to understand that. Afro people will, we'll talk loud enough so that you can hear. What's up, Zimaloo? Okay. Let me say this. In my videos, in my regular videos, I don't get hardly anybody sharing, maybe one or two people. So that's why I stopped doing those. But when I do those stay up for people to see throughout the years, if you can remember titles of them. All right. And because of the information that is in the description box, all right, because of the information that is in the description box, then you could go back and see, what's been going on. All right. So basically, as we start, hey, Dwight, what's going on? Shalom. Shalom. Okay. So when we look at this and we start talking about this, there has been messaging targeted at us. And it is alarming. And here is the kicker. For me, I didn't understand. I thought, well, it's a message. It's targeted at us. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay. But I didn't notice how thorough and how effective their programming was of Afro people until I looked on Facebook and saw these clowns saying that this was the best Super Bowl halftime performance ever. And I start thinking to myself, ever, forever, all right? And so I want y'all to understand some things, all right? I want y'all to understand some things. One of the things that I hate to look at on YouTube is that when somebody say this is the best snare drum exercise ever, you want to hear the guy, but since they said it's the best, they don't say in my opinion, they say this definitively is the best, right? And the reason why I don't like it is because it's usually Caucasians saying it, but then we have started taking over a lot of their mannerisms and stuff like that. All right. And we're making the same foolish claims. There's no way, if you haven't seen all the Super Bowl halftime performances, that you could say this is the best ever. And so I was talking to my guard sister today about it. And we was talking to Captain Marvel, right? And hopefully he'll pop up here. Okay. And it dawned on me that these people were saying stuff about this. Michael Jackson came out and for 5 minutes just stood there. That's all he did, just stood there. Them people was just, all right, I want you to understand this. When a dude can just stand there, that was the best one ever. Followed by Prince and then somebody else. Right? But when your brain is all smoked up, you do not value the talent other people have. When your brain is smoked up, that's why they want to keep it smoked up. Look at all these policies that is being pushed. People thought, hold on. I don't know why they thought, but people thought we came closer to getting reparations from the orange man, Mr. DT, than we knew we were ever going to get ever for a man who does the eulogy for Robert Byrd. And you know that history. For the man who helped flood the inner city communities with crack cocaine through the CIA under Reagan. Oh, him and Byrd was in on that. They were on the Senate committee. That these senators, these Democratic senators, have done a lot to us. Now, let me just run down the list of things, and I want y'all to get a good look at this party. I'm not saying the Republicans are anything better. They're not two sides of the same coin. So I want people to stop saying that, because one, that is unintelligent. We could say that they're both bad for us, but they're not two sides of the same coin. Although the overall and overseer, whoever's running the government, is running both of them. All right. Now, let me say this. What makes the Republican Party and what makes the Democratic Party are the people that vote for them. So we can all agree that all of them are corrupt. When people get into office, they go into the House and they become millionaires, they're corrupt. They were millionaires when they got there and they ain't making no more. But these people, especially doing this last thing, this plan that they had, a lot of these people are millionaires now, gazillionaires. They asked Nancy Pelosi point blank, don't you think that people that make the laws in Congress about businesses in the stock market shouldn't be able to participate in the stock. Oh no, because they crooked as hell. You know how effective Nancy Pelosi was, knowing what law she was going to pass. She was so effective that people were making money by following the stocks that she chose. You can call that effective, you can call that corruption, but people figured out the game. Okay? Now, let's show you how bad this statement is. A true statement. At the same time, we got paraphernalia going to drug users in the poorest, as he said, the poorest cities, safe paraphernalia, instead of jobs. Nope, not jobs, not help, paraphernalia. Oh, and let's just keep bashing the men and paraphernalia. All right. This is how bad it is. That people need to put it together. You got the paraphernalia. You got this Democratic president who's the same one that wrote the 94 crime bill that put people in prison, and primarily Afro people in prison, while giving Caucasian people a pass. Let that sink in for a minute. Oh, let me say this. My Cash App and PayPal me is in the description box. So if you want to help this channel out and what we're doing in the communities, then please donate. But before you do, you take care of yourself and family first. All right? Because if you ain't got it, you shouldn't give it. Period. Nobody else should get our help until we help ourselves. You start at home, and by home I mean your house. All right, outside of your personal house, I don't consider the so-called Black community my home. Not so long as it's being run by the females who's running it. I'm not welcome there because I'm a fairly intelligent dude. I'm under 6 feet, and even the ones who are over 6 feet with six-figure income, they're really not welcome there. She just wanted to siphon the money off of him so her and Pookie and Ray Ray and them could run through her, and she could get it done off of the money of it. Look at these basketball players. They can get it done off of the money of the men who have been financial providers. All right. So, yeah, Lord Vader. Yep. Okay. And so there's a lot going on with this stuff here. All right. And so here's the thing. The politicians are going to be crooked, but if the people stand straight and keep them in check, that's one thing. But when the politicians know that they can always depend on crooked people to be crooked, understand that. The reason why Afro people are never going to get anything from the Democrats, because the Democrats never had to give them anything after the 1964 Civil Rights Bill, which was gutted. It was first designed to benefit the Afro man and his family. And then a Democratic senator put women in there. So then that by doing that, they made the Caucasian women a minority, who is the majority in the United States. They made the majority, who's primarily connected to the majority of wealth, a minority. And then those same men who were racist against us before the 64 bill did it worse by making a deal. And we'll get into that when we read the Willy Lynch letter. By making a deal with the BAWs and the Caucasian women. And both ended up turning on the men. But they made a deal with the BAW, who's always turned on the men. Remember, Lena Horne, Maya Angelou, all right? They don't want us to marry who we want to marry. date who we want to date. But this whole time, Lena Horne didn't come from no Afro daddy Caucasian mother. She came from a Caucasian man, black woman. And all the rest of them that passed. There was a lot of passers back in the day. Okay? And we just dealt with it. It's all right, whatever. All right. And now you got something that's going on here. And this is why you got the BAWs doubling down on the lies so much. All right. This is why Washington, you can't, hold on, let me say this. You can't clean out Washington, D.C. if the people that vote for them are wicked. That's why they control what people think. This is the purpose of the Super Bowl. And the Afro people have been specifically targeted for these mind games. And these dudes walking away, not really understanding what happened. Walking away, oh man. Yes. Yes, she did. All right. You guys do Facebook like arguing this, and you don't realize what the hit job that's about to be done. Now explain that in a minute. The hit job that's about to be done is going to be done through the BAW. Right, yes, because of the crime bill. And let's mention this. Remember that statistically, Caucasians do more drugs than Afro people. They do more weed than Afro people. They just don't get policed and thrown in jail for it, in prison for it. All right. The police are there to persecute us in certain states. All right. And that's going to be down to the communities. That's going to be down to the communities in which you live. So if you're living in Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama, some parts of Georgia, y'all know what it is. All right. So basically, all right. Oh, don't forget to get the thumbs up. And let me say this real quick. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, or you think, just look and make sure you have, and click the notification bell. All right. So when we look at this imaging, there is a whole lot to this, right? Now, one, what they did was they made the Afro family weak. Okay. Understand this. What they did was this. We have Black neighborhoods, but we don't have Afro communities. We are the only people that exist in the United States without a community. Hey, what's up, Antonio Johnson? All right, here's the difference. When you have BAWs who can't stand the men who consistently lie on them, and they have to find out that everything that was told on them by the BAW was a lie through research that other people did, then you don't have a community. You have men living in a place that have nothing but adversaries, and basically they should run away from those BAWs and not have any long-term relationship with those BAWs. They're not worthy of relationship at all. None of them. And this is how you know this. If they want to get that piece of paper from the court to say you're together, they're not worthy of any relationship with no man. Even Caucasian men are now waking up and they're like, oh, it's a trap. Like General Arbart. All right. So what's up, one loyal king? All right. So now let's break this down. Because there's a lot to break down with this Super Bowl stuff. Now, one of the things that we got to break down is why, in the midst of all the rest of this stuff they had going on, did they have Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre? Understand this. They had Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, Eminem. Basically, they made a deal with Dr. Dre and bought out the people that he kind of produced. But Dr. Dre of NWA that made himself famous. What's up, King Groove? He and Ice Cube was the thing. Now, let me say this. I really didn't appreciate NWA because I was listening to what the Caucasian was saying, oh, they're about this, that, and the other, till I started listening to their music. And I was like, oh, no, they're talking about injustice in the street by way of the police, the political system, and everything. They're telling you how the mamas was unjust, the police was unjust, the home was in an unjust predicament. Ice Cube is the only one that had like some kind of semblance of normality. But even he knew what it was, seeing the community that he was raised around, right? So if you wanted to talk about the impact of hip hop, you have Ice Cube and everything up there. If you want to talk about California, right? But again, in California, okay, in California, I want y'all to understand this. Mary J. was abused by thug after thug after thug. And guess who she decided to talk to? Another thug. See, everyone is promoting and glorifying and grandalizing, if that's a word, wicked behavior that is detrimental to the Afro community. Now, in order to break down what's really happening, all right, in order to break down what's really happening, let me go here. All right. Remember, I said everyone knows who we are. Everybody knows who we are. You understand? Everyone knows who we are. We the only ones that don't know who we are. All right, what's up, Nene? All right, we're the only ones that don't know who we are. Now, I informed y'all about seminary, like what I learned at a seminary school. And y'all know from my preaching and remember, when I was in Germany, and Brother Dwight could tell you, in Germany, you can run across a whole lot of realness and stuff. That's what I was looking at, what stuff meant in Hebrew and Greek before these so-called Israelite camps even decided to delve into any of that mess. All right. And so before all of that, right? Before the internet was popular, we had to read stuff in the book and do research. All right. And so basically, in our getting, let's get an understanding. All right. There are 750 commandments, statutes, and judgments. Let's say over 700 commandments, statutes, and judgments. If you want to destroy us, what you do is you get us to go away from a couple of main ones, and I'll explain them to you. Okay? It says, I am your Ahaya, your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mizraim, out of the house of slavery. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You now pay attention to this one, and I'll explain it to you. Pay attention to this one, and I'm going to explain this one to you. You do not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness. So don't make a carved image or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath the heavens, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down or serve them, for I, your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations to those that hate me. So we have an idea. Okay, now we're going to go back to this in a minute. 20 and 4. Let's go down to 20 and 16. You do not bear false witness against your neighbor. In all my videos where I talk, and y'all know I go in on the BAW. For you new people, that's Black American Woman. To separate them from the stuff that they do, from the things that the Afro people, women in the diaspora may or may not do. I don't know that, so I cannot include them in it. And so I just maintain what I know from the stats and stuff that I am able to present. And so in the description box, there are all of the stats of all of the things that are going on. Now, one of the things that they did with the feminist thing is all this is about worship, right? And to understand, right, understand the effectiveness of this worship, the women, because of their coochie, want men to worship them. Understand this. Their purpose was created to be a helpmeet. And then after they slept with Azazel in the garden, and bore came from him, that was a sin. And the knowledge, the fruit was the knowledge. And she wasn't supposed to get that extra knowledge. You know, the witchcraft, the tension, all the stuff that he taught them. It was corruption for them for the time. Maybe there was a time for them to learn it, but they weren't supposed to learn it right after they were just made. Okay? So understand this. So when you look at that, everything that they are doing is to take us away from our protection, and our protection is the commandments. Remember how I explained it? Remember how I explained this to Zimbaloo? Brother, you are hitting the nail on the head. Bro, there it is. Images include that BS 7 golden stick candle. None of that is supposed to mean anything to us. And we really don't understand. Nobody really went into the temple and worshiped like that. But the priests. All right. So in our getting an understanding. All right. And so when we look at this, right? A couple of things I want to break down. The reason why I go so hard for the BAW is they're being judged, and it's going to get worse. And then I tell y'all, if you're a righteous brother, you stay out of their way. Let the Most High handle them. We're not supposed to marry them, because here's the thing: the Most High don't care about collateral damage, because He said we're supposed to turn away from evil. And so if somebody's lying on you, setting you up, using the system to harm the child by keeping the child from the biological father and all the rest of the stuff, then that's a problem. All right, that's a straight up problem. All right, so basically, so this is what's going on. Hey, what's up, Jameer? Right. And so basically, now you have made the BAW the ruler of the community by default, right? So you made the BAW ruler of the community by default. Right? Now, they lied on the Afro men, and we are starting to understand the truth. So when you understand that truth, right? Then we're supposed, and that they've been lying, and that they mean our destruction, and they despise us. You're not supposed to be around them. But I want y'all to pay attention to this. All right, so let's go back. Now I want you to pay attention to this and really read this. You got his identity. You got what he's not going to tolerate: any mighty ones before his face. A mighty one is also a king. All right. Now, listen to this. You do not make for yourself a carved image, right? Or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above. Now, let me explain that. So how many of you understand this? How many of you understand this? If for some reason you was able to go up and see the Most High, right? And I want to know what y'all have to think about this. If for some reason you were able to go up and see the Most High, and you have a photographic memory, do you know that means you cannot come down here and make a carved image of the likeness of the Most High, whereby people can bow down to it? Because that's not how you worship the Most High. Think about that for a minute. Devil is an adversary, your enemy. that wants to spiritually corrupt you. All right. Now, when we think about this, right, when you look at that, so we're not supposed to have any images that we bow down to. So we're not supposed to have carved one or any other type of image that we make of the heavens. So you can't make an image of angels and have people bowing down to them. You can't make an image of what you think God looks like and people bowing down to it. You can't make images of sea creatures and bow down to them. And people say, so how do you worship the Most High? He told you. Obey his commandments. That's it. And what made us unique is we were the people that had an invisible Most High that worked on our behalf. So even though the Most High was invisible or unseen, we didn't have no representation, like no goat's head or anything like that. If something went down, his presence was felt by our adversaries. All right. And so if this is the case, okay, with this being the case, 16225. Oh, what day is today? Oh, it's February 14th. February 14th. I want y'all to see something real quick. I think this is it.
Service announcement. You ever wonder why we wear red on Valentine's Day? Well,
if y'all ain't ever listened to nothing else, listen to this right here. All right, let's go back. Listen to this dude.
Quick public service announcement. You ever wonder why we wear red on Valentine's Day? Well, it's because it comes from a pagan festival called Lupercalia, in which Roman priests would sacrifice goats, rip their flesh off, and smack women in the streets with them. The women believed being covered in this blood would help them with fertility. Being covered in this blood. Okay, thanks, bye.
And all that getting an understanding? Are y'all understanding? Everything in this country about everything that we do is designed to get us to worship something other than the Most High. Let me repeat that again for those in the top row. Everything. Understand this. Everything that goes on is about worship of their pagan gods. Exactly. All right, understand this. So now you understand Valentine's Day. All right. Well, here's the thing. Money is ineffective for people that's not controlled by money. Let me say that again. Money is ineffective to use against people who can't be controlled by money. Y'all need me to repeat that again? Money is an ineffective weapon to be used against a person that cannot be controlled by money. All right. However, money is their God, so they need it. Money is their God, so they need it. Why is money their God? Because if they get enough of it, they think that they will be able to control almost everyone. You can control the government leaders, but what happens when the people stand up? The only people that have not stood up for anything to get anything that they want is us Afro people, the so-called Black community. Why? You can't stand up when everything is run by the woman. When the woman ran all the good men off that would have political capital by way of money, and that would have the intelligence to know how to fight these battles. The problem solvers. No, they ran them off for the Pookies and Ray Rays that don't care about nothing but just getting some. And they're giving it up to them. So Pookie and Ray Ray is running through them, right? But as they run through them and help them to destroy the community, they have one problem. They're not able to destroy the good men because the good men are waking up and we are starting to separate from them until the time where Most High will call us back to be in that fold. It just ain't now. All right. So you got to understand this. You have to understand the reason why men are the Afro man is walking away, not only from the BW, but all the women in the US. Why are they walking away? They are walking away because a lot of them are starting to become spiritual men again. And what I mean by spiritual men, it's a spiritual man works. A spiritual man has things rooted in how we take care of home and the earth. And when we are in our purpose, that is our spiritual nature. Understand? Let me say that again. When we men are in our purpose, that is our spiritual nature. If we're solo, that means the BAW is not in her spiritual nature. So we are to leave her alone. She can't come to us with a child because in this system, if that child is not a bastard child or she is not a widow, we do not have the authority to be with such a woman. Scripturally, we can't be with her. She belongs to the man she's getting child support from. Oh, like remember I keep telling you all this stuff that they're doing is things that they try to get us to do to draw us away from obeying the commandments. One of the commandments, we can't commit adultery. What is adultery? When a man sleeps with another man's wife. Well, how is it adultery? Wait a minute. How is it adultery if that man ain't in the house? Well, let's look at it. How is he not in the house? Is his money in the house? What do you mean? Is he paying alimony or child support? Well, yeah. Then he is married to that woman. If he's paying alimony and child support for that child, that is his. Now, here's the other way she's disqualified. Say the child isn't his. DNA says the child isn't his. And she tells the dude. Then the dude is messing with a harlot. And you're not supposed to deal with that. There's a difference between a prostitute and a harlot. Remember, the Most High saved a prostitute. But he says stay away from the harlot. The difference is that destructive witchcraft type of behavior, which is kind of what they are. They're the ones that engage in deception for relationships to keep a man bound to them. It's witchcraft. All right. And so when this happens, you can't be with her either. The only time you could be with a woman that's had a child from another man is if she gives that child to that man, as the scripture says she should have done in the first place. That's what a scriptural divorce is. And then once you give that child to that man, she is a free woman to be the wife of another husband. But they don't do that here because, wait a minute, here it's all about they are black girl power. Understand this. They're not about cohesion. They're not about family values. They're not about building a community. They're about securing the bag and getting black girl power. All right. Hey, hold on. Y'all talking about pistols. Y'all might be messing up my live stream. Okay. Leave that one away for a minute. Okay. Now, I want to draw your attention to this, the Willy Lynch letter. And if the new people who haven't got one, want a copy of the Willy Lynch letter, all right, email me and I will send you the PDF. Okay. So email me and I will get the PDF to you. So let's look at this Willy Lynch letter real quick. Is this it? Yeah. Okay. If you look at it, this man studied people that was in that they had enslaved. They looked at the human nature. This is the thing that when I went through anthropology, right? When I went through anthropology, we're looking and y'all talking about a dude that was getting a 4.0 that was at the top of this class. I had to cuss them people out because I realized how racist that field was. And not just that field, anybody that was practicing it. Okay. Now, in the interest of business, slaveholders understand why lynching started after people got free. It was the interest of slaveholders and human. All right, the first thing he said at the top of this is as he was coming into town, he saw a slave that was lynched, and he admonished them, saying that why did you do that? You paid money for that. And he said, well, we need to prevent this lynching of these slaves, and in order to do it, we have to brainwash them, so to speak, paraphrase. But when you start off in the preamble, you can read, we have to brainwash them. And so as he did his meditations and stuff like that, now we get to this, where he says this, thank you, gentlemen, this. Right? He talked about his experiences and how he came to this conclusion that this is the most effective way to destroy a man, because basically they were after destroying the men. Remember, everyone, 2/3 of all slaves were men, and not every female that was in that 1/3 were slaves. So let's say 2/3 they brought over here to be slaves were males. But a lot of females, Africans, came over here as wives and concubines of the slaveholders. Remember, if you read Daughters of the Trade, so they had women, they had Afro women come over here and they enslaved Afro women. But they also, if you look at the quadrille, the French, the Spanish and stuff, They and the Portuguese, especially, a lot of them, if you look at Portuguese and Brazil, those slaveholders had took to those um, Afro-Brazilian women from the beginning, and some of them Afro-Brazilian women made out to be very rich till they end up owning towns. And under here, under manumissions and stuff, we find that 70, what was it again? Was it 78% of, or was it 73? Greater than 70% of Black slave owners were women. And the women were worse slave owners than the Caucasian men. So much to the point that a lot of slaves ran away to white plantations to get away from the Black women slave owners. Sort of like how children like me, I ran away from home. I was a runaway. I got tired of being whipped and beat by everything. So I would have been one of them. And I learned to live in the. I learned the streets, and I ended up going to orphanage behind those beatings. All right, understand this. When I was running away, I was maybe in the 3rd or 4th grade. I was maybe in the 3rd or 4th grade. Let that sink in. The same way that they whipped the slaves were the same way that many of us, if we're going to be honest, were being whipped, and we was told, well, it'll make you, I'm gonna whip you so the police don't do it. And the police don't whip you, they shoot you, apparently. All right, so if you read this, I want y'all to read this for a minute. I'm gonna read this for a minute. It was the interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature and slave nature. So they understood that we were human beings. They had to make us into animals in their literature so that they could feel good about the heinous things that they did. But they study us to understand human nature and the slave nature in particular. Y'all see that? Human nature and the slave nature in particular. So the human beings that they made slaves. So this is what separates, I'm going to say this, all the stuff you're seeing in the Super Bowls, all the stuff you're seeing in the music, all the stuff you're seeing with them giving the BAWs power, education, positions, and stuff, the BAWs are not getting them positions on their own. They're not going through them schools on their own. It's part of the program. In this society, nobody's it's hard to be a self-made man because a lot of us are working for other people and we stay tethered to them basically until you die. Unless people join the military to become a self-made man, and then we give them 20 years of our lives. And some of the times we give them our lives in hopes that in those 20 years, we could not deal with them and then we could be free. That's the quickest freedom. That's the most secure freedom that you can get. Right? So here's the thing. So understand this. The slaveholders knew that we were human. And they studied our nature as a people. They understood that the men were so strong, headstrong. Okay, let me just read this. With a view to practical results, and I and many of them attained astonished proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men. Oh, Did y'all hear that? Do you understand the gravity behind that? They said we had to deal with men. So now we're human, right? Now we're human, and now we're men. No, the police are not Roman soldiers. They're the modern day version of the slave catcher that we're going to get into. All right? So understand this. Look up manumissions. Look up manumissions. And look up one of my older videos, and I have the link in the description box. It might be in the description box of this one too. Look up manumissions and slaveholders. There is a book though, but the link is in the all right, the link is in the thing. But the police original job was to bring back slaves. All right. Hey, what's up, Backwoods Rider? All right, now let's get into this. Let's get a little deeper into this, right? All right. Now, so they acknowledge us as human by saying we have human nature, right? I saw many of them attain astonishing proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men. And by every regard, they had, for their own safety and prosperity, they needed to know the material on which they were to work. Conscious of the injustice and wrong, they were every hour perpetuating. Y'all, come on now. Knowing what they themselves would do. Let me just do this real quick. I know where to stop. Okay. Okay, y'all. Let's break this down. Let's break this down. I want y'all to understand this. In this thing, they acknowledge us as human men. They acknowledge that what they were doing is unjust. They did it anyway. They acknowledge if they was in the same position, they would try to escape and get revenge. All right. Everything you see now is a part of this letter whereby they are trying to keep us on the plantation. They were constantly looking for the first signs of the dreaded retribution. They watched therefore with skill and practice eyes and learned to read with great accuracy the state of the mind and heart of the slave. Through his stable pace, unusual sobriety, apparent attraction, sullenness, and indifference indeed, any mood out of the common was afforded grounds for suspicion, and injury. Okay, now let's get back to this show. All right, let's get back to this show. Now, I want y'all to keep in mind this. All right. And everything, notice that everything is blue, dark blue, because that's the game colors. Pepsi said, oh, I'm going to run with this. So that's why Pepsi got to be the sponsor. Okay. So Pepsi gets to be the sponsor. Hey, Daniel Porter, that's the Willy Lynch letter. So I'm reading from the Willy Lynch letter. All right. So if anybody want to copy it, a copy of it, just hit me up in the email, and my email is in the description box, and I'll send it to you. It's a PDF form. It's in PDF form. All right. So now we have this. Now, the reason why I wanted to skip to this, because I wanted to get into all right, and it goes into the cardinal principle. Um, okay, let me see. Because this thing is heavy with the N word. Okay, let's go like this. As you look at the picture, it says, therefore, if you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years of development. In other words, if you make a deal with the mother and tell her, and this is how you break them, you tell them you don't need no man. The government will take care of you. All right. We're not going to hire the man anyway. We'll hire you, the black female, over the man. So now when you get with him, because we change the requirements for what makes the head of a house, instead of it being about who's the protector, who leads the home, who provides, we're going to make it who makes the most money. See, if we make it about money, okay, now understand this. Remember I said money is the God? So what do women, okay, let me say this. As this is clear. Right. So they say if you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years. So as children, she will break the children in its early years of development. And when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you. For her normal female protective tendency will have been lost in the original breaking process. For example, take the case of, okay, so it goes into the stud. Okay, let me see if they use the N word in this paragraph. Okay, I can let you see it. I just won't use the word. So these are products of this breaking. All right. These are products of this breaking. What's up, young boy 24? All right. So now I want y'all to see something else. So remember, Dr. Dre left when his mama slapped him. He got smacked one too many times. What's up, Roger Hayes? Right? Now, let's look further into the Willy Lynch letter. Let's look a little further into the letter. I had to pull up a part where they're not using the N word. Okay, so, oh, there we go. They used it. Yeah, bring that down a bit. Well, this is look like we're back. All right. So now that Okay, so now that we're getting a clearer understanding, now everything that they do now means something. Okay, everything that they do means something. All right, the thing is, the thing is that the Afro male was set up for destruction. All right, and not in any small part. You got terrorism that we face from the police. Okay, so you got that terrorism that you face, but a lot of that stuff is kind of self-inflicted, and this is why the Most High told us to sanctify ourselves or get away or move away from, liberate ourselves from, separate ourselves from, run back up, do not get near. When we get old enough, move out. This is what happened to me. When I came back from the orphanage, I was back out in the streets. But I was out there understanding that I was going to never sell drugs or use drugs. I saw that as just dead end. And it wasn't, and I would say this, that I was fortunate that the Most High was working in my life for a while, right? And guided me through some situations that could have been questionable decisions. So I can hang, yeah, I know. I can hang around someone, right? I can hang around someone and not do what they do. Can y'all hear me now? Here's the thing. And let me say this about John Amos in this comment right here. What they consider beautiful then is not what we consider beautiful now. What we consider beautiful now, they would consider clowns then. Our women are more natural state. The thing with John Amos is there's a difference in what they thought was beautiful back then versus what we think now. So we can't say she was not whatever. All right. But they kind of did know what they were doing too, right? All right. Now they picked the woman that was much older than he was, and that was out of order. And so, yeah, that was kind of out of order. They picked a woman that was way older than he was. All right. So now when we get back, and look at all of this stuff, now that you have some understanding, Willy Lynch letter, the actual commandments, and the fact that they're trying to destroy us spiritually as well. You have it that they're trying to destroy us spiritually as well, right? And so, how do we combat that? All right. First of all, there's some things we need to stop tolerating. And this is one. This should have been one of them things that the women should have said, no, we are not going to subvert the movement of the Black Panthers who brought you, understand, Wick. They brought Wick, understand. After Wick, Safe, school breakfasts, after school programs, all the stuff that we now take for granted, like normal, right? We take these things for granted. We take them for normal. Came from the Black Panthers. So they get Beyonce and a bunch of other Black females to go out there and subvert the message. And these women think they're leaders now, but they're not leading anything. They're being pulled ahead by the, okay? The system is making them everything. All right, now, and it's worse than that when you really get down there and look at it, right? Because that wasn't the only image that they was trying to destroy and copy. Understand this. Remember that Beyonce is a template. She is not an artist in the sense of an artist. That's why she wasn't able to stand up when it came to Jennifer Hudson. So this is another thing to understand. All right. So now what I'm going to do is for those that have something to say, you could click on. All right, you could pop in. But I just want to say, all right, so again, the BAW says they're the leader only after taking the things that the Afro men created. All right, they want to take the things that the Afro men created and then say that they are leaders. Now, I said this on my TikTok. That one of the problems that I had is when you listen to what Ice Cube was writing. All right. Don't forget my Cash App and PayPal me will be in the description box. So if you want to help my channel out by donating it to it so that we can continue to do what we do in the community, physically do that. But remember, you take care of yourself and family first. All right. And don't forget to subscribe. So when we look at this, right, you look at what NWA was writing about. They was writing about what was going on in the streets, and the irony, they were writing political message, but in a harder way. Their message was political. And then we go to Dre and Snoop Dogg presenting the Chronic. And then it comes into the worship and glorification of drugs, the worship and glorification of the BW, and not the worst of them. All right. Oh yeah. And he scared them because he was telling the truth and writing it in the in a way that the street understood. Now let's say this. Then they came up rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice, with their mind on their money and their money on their mind. Sipping on smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice, with their mind on their money and their money on their mind. Money worship, drug worship, female worship. Thou shalt have no other mighty ones before my face. Y'all shall not bow down to them and worship them. This is what's wrong with the so-called Black community. Go ahead, brother, Texas Marine.
Yeah. You hear me? You hear me clear?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. It's the worst thing we could do at this time is think that because more men, more Afro men are speaking up about the imbalance of structure in the family home or in man-woman relationship, patriarchy, matriarchy, is to think that it's changing. They are going full force media message. And they're doing it subtly, you're not even looking at it. There's a Carhartt commercial out right now, and it shows blue collar workers. One shoveling the back of a truck, another one's doing some construction work. It's both women. Men don't exist in it no more. And there's a Samsung commercial where it's a black man in it, but he's alphabet, and it's the only commercial that has a melanated man in it. They're still pushing effeminization. They're still pushing women in the lead, women being the head. It's little subtle things. You wouldn't pay attention to it, but it's little things, that everyday things that you're not thinking nothing of. But they're showing men as the submissive to the woman, and she's in the lead. In every aspect of life, they're doing that now. They're drilling that message into the youth, and the youth are going to grow up thinking this is how it's supposed to be.
Right. And remember what the Willy Lynch letter said. You get to the women, you break them, and then she will break the youth. She's been the one, the BAW's been the one teaching her daughters, you don't need no man. She's the one teaching her sons, you ain't going to be nothing because your daddy wasn't nothing. She's been the one that's been whipping everybody, whipping them into shape, whipping them into compliance with switches, extension cords, shoes, and stuff. And people are like, oh, that was good for it. Wasn't good. It wasn't good because I wasn't in them orphanages by myself. Hello, y'all. I wasn't in there by myself, and most of the children that were in there were melanated. All right. Okay, so let's make that clear.
And
And I wouldn't change a damn thing. You know why? Because it made me smart enough that when I got back and see that things didn't change, I busted a move. I was out. And then I started making decisions for myself at 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old.
It's the ones that don't get out. It's the ones that don't get out.
Don't get out, right? Or it's the
Because
ones that allow the BW to be so in. They never take the chance on being a man. I had decided, fail or make it. And y'all know I went to college with no GED or high school diploma because I was smart enough to take that exam. All right, and I had a good professor back then, and this was up on the East Coast where they were the real pro-blacks, not these pro-whacks right now that tell you to worship the coochie. We're talking about the ones that was like, no, this is obey your thoughts. No, have some thoughts, do some critical thinking. They taught critical thinking. All right, and so that's what I learned. That the stuff that when I went back to college this time, it was so easy for me to maintain a 4.0 until I went off on somebody. But I'm still getting emails, and Texas Marine could probably tell you. I'm still getting from Johns Hopkins asking me to come there. But I was like, I'm so done. I don't need the education. I don't need another degree. Y'all know I definitely don't need it now. I'm done with all that. You see? So go. What else did you have, brother?
hey, Michael Duncan. Ice Cube said from the beginning. He said even in the interview of his first album, he never claimed to be hood. He was telling stories about people that he went to school with that were in the hood. Ice Cube had a 2-family home, but he still lived in South Central. So yeah. He wasn't a gangbanger because he had a father in the house. But most of the guys that he went to school with were gangbangers, were in the hood. I lived in the hoods in San Diego, which wasn't that much different from LA. I just wasn't a gang member. But everybody I played basketball with, everybody I went around with, they was all hood dudes. I just had a mother who was a Marine who wasn't tolerating that crap from me. That's why I never came.
And Ice Cube kind of stayed true to that because he remembered the real hood, and he made a distinction between him and the real gangsters, like the one that came on the bus.
Yeah, he was just telling stories about he was telling stories about the streets in Southern California. Not that he was like I said, he's playing a character, but he was, for those of us that grew up.
Well, he wasn't playing a character in the sense that even if you look at his character, he wasn't playing a character as
his persona
he wasn't playing Eazy-E. He was playing himself that hang with Eazy-E, that knew about what was going on because he lived in the area.
He never claimed to be a gang member, street dude, drug dealer. He had a persona on stage that told stories about gang members, street dudes, drug dealers.
And really, if you listen to what he was talking about, it's the where and why. But even on a lot of his stuff, he was talking about the jails and stuff because he did go to jail because of his association with the group. He was talking about, so Ice Cube, when you really sit down and listen to what he was writing about, he was writing about the streets from the point of view of third person, not first person.
Mm-hmm. And I from what he said before, it's like some of those stories was Dub C and the other guy. He was telling their stories on some of the stuff.
Right. And so basically, though, and then the political messages.
Ice Cube wasn't preaching get out there in the streets to be a gang member. If you listen, he was telling about being in the streets and then how the cops were doing people. I got yanked out of a car with a military sticker just going to Fat Burger in LA, and we wasn't doing nothing. but we was
Right.
black in a nice looking car on Crenshaw.
Yeah. And so
That was just LA. That's LA in the 80s and 90s. It's just what it was. Didn't matter.
so
You was black. And God forbid you had a tattoo, you was in the gang file. Nah, my buddy had a tattoo. He was from Indiana. He had a tattoo on his back. And they took a picture and put him in the gang file, but we had military ID cards, military stickers on cars. He still put them in the gang file.
wow.
That was LA. Because most of the cops, like you said, Nabi, a lot of the cops in LA coming out the 60s and 70s, LA recruited Southern cops to come out there and handle their end problem.
Yep.
And it still runs to this day. Yep, Rampart.
Yeah, because we ain't nothing but ninjas to them.
Yeah, that's all we was. And Ice Cube said the black cops were worse than the white cops because they would hit you quicker than the white cop would.
Right, because they have to prove themselves
worthy.
And that's what they think they're doing. And even some of the white cops be like, well, dang, you don't have to do all that.
Because they were like, I would want to go so far, but you just hit him and he ain't done nothing.
And so now you get what the BAW is doing to us because she's trying to prove herself to her masters, the powers that be.
She's bugged.
All right, remember the BAW is being put in the position of going to school. She's being put in the position of the court system, which is wicked as hell. No one should. I wanted to do law, and then there's a couple of things that I wanted to do that I knew that no person of the Most High should be involved in when we talk about this government. And one is the court system, right? And so you got a lot of women wanting to be a part of the court system because the court system persecutes the Afro men. And the court system got a lot of tricky stuff in and out to it, right? And if you're not careful, if you don't know, and you just got to be really careful with the court system. But a bunch of females want to be there, and they take the jobs that most persecute the men. But I want you to understand this: they take the job of the things that end up being the watchdog for the Afro men. So they're watching her while she watches us.
So would you say that the way, like, and we see what Biden's doing, he's appointed all these BAW judges. Would you say he's positioning BAWs to be the overseers over black men?
Exactly. Remember, they
so
want to destroy
hands
the order.
off on the destruction. They do it for him.
Right.
Completely.
Right. And a lot of these dudes won't see it coming because they're too busy worshiping their coochie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Genesis 3:16, it says to the woman, he said, I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception, bring forth children in pain, and your desire is to the man, and he does rule over you. And it says husband here, but the actual Hebrew word translates to the man, and he does rule over you, right? We were never supposed to be monogamous, all this crap. All right, and so basically what you have here is you have, let me see what what you have here is you have a lot of BWs that work for the system. They know they work for the system. They're glad they work for the system because now they think they're above the Afro men. But they got one problem. They don't want the Afro men to understand the work that they're doing, right? And so they got to fake the funk. They got to be like, well, we're working for this, the political system and everything. Everybody in the political system, men or women, they are against our interests. All right, because we don't control.
Would know that because of the Congressional Black Caucus ain't never done nothing for the Congressional Black people they're supposed to be representing.
Right, and so basically, so that's that, right? And so What they're trying to do is convince us that we don't see what we see. We see a bunch of traitors, but they trying to convince us, oh no, we don't see the us that's trying to destroy you and destroy the community. And we're saying, yes, we do.
They call you a sellout when you question them.
Oh yeah, you're a sellout, you're gay, that and the other.
And
you know,
you
we got the whole gamut of names we run through of what we are.
But the crazy thing, if you're not married to a black woman, you self-hate. But every one of these judges he's want to appoint to something. Every one of them but one is married to something other than a black man. But that's not an issue.
And so that's why for many of us who can, we need to leave.
Well, like the Whitehead says, build our own community, separate.
I don't know. I don't follow Dre like that to know what age he is. Right?
He's
programming.
He's about 56.
Yeah, okay. See, all this is programming, right? And we didn't see it all together. So you got the political policies. Then right after the political policies, they put a bunch of people who promoted gang life, death, and drugs. And money. They want you to work.
You went out again. Hey, Captain Marvel. If Jay was born in 65, he was 50 in 2015. He should be more than 56. He would be pushing 57 this year. If he was born in 65, that puts him closer to that. Hey, Mike Angelic, did you get the book and the ID card, or just the book? Because I got the book and ID card. Just so when I'm in a different country, I don't have to pack my book around the ID. I just pack the passport ID card. Nabi packs around his military ID. Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. The disconnect I believe, started in the 50s. We just didn't see it coming. Zimmerlo, you get the ID card because when you're in a foreign country, you don't want to be packing your passport book around if you got no other ID with you. And if you lose that book, you can't leave the country. You get the ID card to pack. I got the book and the ID card. I left the book in the hotel in the safe and just had the passport ID card with me. That's a safe way to walk around. Unless you got that military ID, that veteran ID, you can pack that around. That's just as good. That's a federal ID.
Oh, wow, this is interesting.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad he was able to take on. So when two of us is on. Oh yeah, you all been called the alphabet. Yeah, that is just is what it is.
That's their standard go-to. You must be alphabet. Oh. When they ain't got nothing else, they call you that.
Hey, what's up, Captain Marvel?
You know they're upset they ain't got nothing to say when they call you alphabet. They run out of stuff. They attack your manhood.
Hey, Captain Marvel, if you check your email, I sent you the link to this. Because me and Captain Marvel was talking earlier this afternoon about all the stuff that's going on here too. You
Hey,
know,
hey, Mike, hey, Dylan, a twit card is just to get you on, to get you in like the ports and docks. If you driving trucks and doing heavy work, it gets you in them cargo shipping areas that's coming in. That's what a twit card does. It don't help you travel outside the country.
and you find out how much respect we have as Afro men once we leave this country and go somewhere other than Africa.
Facts.
Other
I
than
seen it.
Africa, right?
I
Because
see them in the hotel.
African women don't really have and it's like a competition thing. It ain't even a competition because we ain't competing with them. But they look down on us because they're trying to be as nasty to us as the BWC are here in the US as well. And I don't mean nasty like unclean, but as far as attitude, many of them. Now, some of them be all right, right? It depends on the country though. The more the country is associated with the West, the more of a problem we would have with them. Like Muslim countries in Africa, they're kind of all right. The women are kind of all right, but then that's a different kind of training. But westernized African women, that's a different story.
You can see that here. You can see them women here.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can tell the ones that's got more traditional raised to be a woman training from the ones that have been Beyonce, so to speak.
Right. And you see it in them, in the lightening of their skin, the bleaching of their skin. And I don't see too many African women wearing their natural hair.
Mm-mm.
The Most High is raining down his wrath on them. And now the BAW wants us to come around them and protect them from their choices of selling us out to Zaddy and Tyrone Thug Thizzle for shizzle.
And even Zaddy is starting to put his hammer down on them too.
Yeah. And so does that hold on. If they, as they say in Asia, you break, you buy. Yes, they broke them.
But you did say they don't respect the traitor. In the end, after they get rid of everybody else, they get rid of the people that turned on their own too.
Yeah, because I mean, what good are they?
Can't trust them. If you did it to your own, you'll do it to me.
Um. Oh yeah, and look at this, and they think they're better than a lot of people, and we're just looking at, as we say, we're just looking at turnaround as fair play, and we're like, look at how they're treating you.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, if you like it, I love it. What am I going to say?
It's coming full circle. As Malcolm said, the chicken's coming home to roost.
Yeah. And I hear quack, 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 quack. I hear them chickens roosting. Whatever sound they make when they roost, but they definitely roosting. Let's see.
Thug shizzles.
For shizzle and nizzle, they thug thizzle. All right. Oh yeah, he been trying to get that baby for a while. But you better believe,
specifically by Zaddy.
She been trying to get a baby by that Caucasian man for a while. Right? And the only reason he was in her radar because she got money off of with what's his name in them?
Oh, DMX and them, the Rough Riders.
DMX and them Rough Riders.
And the TV show is still in syndication in some states.
Right. And so basically, she made all her money off of Afro people, off of the black man. And so, and these brothers, they be like, this, that, and the other. I don't feel for them. I'm like, let these women do what they do, because I'm gonna do what I do. But the first time they look side-eyed at me, no. And I'm like, oh, get out my face. You can't look side-eyed at me. I know who you is.
Then they don't understand why you did it. I don't understand why you acting like that.
But see, here's the thing. One of the things that I was able to smarten up and realize is I know who my adversaries are. Really, I know who my adversaries are. And I don't play around with that. I know who my adversaries are. I know people that don't mean me no harm, but they ain't trying to help me either. But I know people that are just trying to destroy me physically, mentally, and spiritually. You understand? And so I'm aware of that. All right.
Okay.
When I even on my channel, and I hope the woman that I saw here was okay. But I think there's spies, a lot of them. But I don't hold my tongue. I don't bite my tongue because the truth is the truth. And a lot of things the Most High reveals to me, so I let you know. And it's an open platform because it's letting them know that we know.
And that brings up a question though. So I guess it's before we go on. How or can we even show some of the ones that don't know who their adversary is, or they just lost if they can't find out?
No. They're not lost. A lot of people can't see. Think about it. My channel used to get 100,000 to 1,000,000 views, and now there are people that found my channel. I never changed my name. So if people really wanted to hear the truth, they could hit reluctant not be. Everybody knows that I put the receipts up in a video and in the description box.
I stumbled across your channel searching for travel videos about Brazil and Colombia and Central America, and you popped up when I was looking at one for Brazil.
Right.
And the first
But
video,
what I'm saying, these are people
the first
that
video I saw was you, the other guy, and Mimi at the beach. When you
Oh
had that
yeah.
black cowboy hat on.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. The thing is that a lot of these people, right, that say we don't know, they don't care to know. Because remember, the people that don't take the time to look for information or look for somebody or wonder where they went, all right, then they're just going to be stuck in the rut that they're in. And so the bottom line is they don't know because they intentionally decided not to know. Understand what I'm saying? Well, all the people saying stuff, they don't know because they don't want to know, or they have something against the person that's giving the information. They want to hear that information from someone else. See? Hold on for a second. And that's what's up. Hold on for a second. You got the floor.
Hey, Lionel Judah, good evening. At Roderick, I wasn't deep diving for info because I haven't listened to T. Sotomayor for a while. When I came across Nabi's video of Brazil on the beach, the first thing I noticed was he was talking about the beach, he was talking about the women, but even in his women happy, looking at how it is down there videos, he got a message in there still. He's talking about the women, but he's talking about how good they look, but he's also doing a comparison about what you're dealing with. So that's what first caught me. After that, when I started going through his videos, I subscribed and I started going through his videos. I'm like, wow, okay, all right. Then when I found out he was in Texas, I was like, wow, he's right here too. So that's what first caught me. And his message is less loud, boisterous, coming at you, trying to get him. His is more factual. He brings receipts for whatever he says. I'm gonna tell you, Roderick. I was raised in a house with 5 women, man. I was a big 6'5" simp coming out of high school. When I got in the Marine Corps, a lot of them back east brothers broke me out of that real quick. They saw what women was doing to me. I was getting jacked up my first year in the Marine Corps. I had this staff sergeant from Chicago. The woman from Jersey. They pulled me aside and checked me real quick, let me know, told me what I was getting done. And I think that's why my ex-wife was my ex-wife, because she saw that she wasn't running me as much as she used to. She got upset because I stopped bending to their will. I wanted to get something out of it too. So yeah, I was a big simp. And the sad thing is, my mother was telling me that you letting these women run you. What's wrong with you, boy? So you can be the most intelligent dude and still put all women on a pedestal because they say you're supposed to. I was broke and simping in California. It's not a good combination. It's not a good combination. Hey, Roger, I'm still learning, but I definitely know who I won't tolerate. I can promise you that. I will not tolerate any BAW or BAW adjacent mess.
Hmm. Let me say this too, about the comment. Do you think they'll get it? All right, Biden, he's been in office for 50 years. He's been in office for 50 years. Wrote a bunch of laws, was a part of a bunch of stuff that harmed Afro people. Physically made many of the laws, or was a part of many of the laws that brought us harm. And people are saying, well, we didn't know. We voted for him, but we didn't know he was this bad for us. And I was like, how did you not know? He's been calling you the N word for the past 50 years. But they got people that don't want to know the truth will be programmed by the media. And then when they see harm coming to them as a result of choice they made, they're just looking for a way out, because they don't want to admit that they fought you tooth and nail because you were educated. And remember, our people despises the Afro man that is educated. And I'm not talking about with college either. Most college, think about this. Malcolm X challenged a bunch of people that had college degrees and doctorates, and he stood toe to toe with them in debates. But all right, I don't push that mess either. All right, I'm like, if a person is intelligent, they're going to be intelligent. A degree don't make you intelligent. If you really look at it, I got all my degrees working after working in the field I worked in. All right, I I got a lot of accreditations and stuff, and all I did was prove that I knew my stuff the way that I did. But my intelligence don't come from that. It comes from curiosity. It also came from, I want to do things right, so I want to know what it is that I'm doing to the best of my ability to know so. That's the difference. A lot of these people were lazy. They list Charlemagne the God. Even him, he's changing his tune. All right. But they're listening to all of these celebrities because that's why these dudes are celebrities. All right. But the celebrities, the way these dudes are listening to them are nothing but their gods. And remember, the Most High said, "Thou shalt have no other mighty ones before my face." Thou shalt not make any images of anything in the earth, as well as in the heaven or under the earth. And they made a image to worship of these celebrities. They know more about and read up more on celebrities than they do the so-called Bible that they think they know. You see, that's what a fan is. They are fans. I'm not a fan of any celebrity. There's comic books I like, but as soon as they change what I like about them, I'm done with it. You see what I mean?
They've even painted. You know, think about the all these paintings of what's supposed to be God and angels. They've been hand feeding us all this stuff for hundreds of years of what's supposed to be, and pray to this and pray to that, angels and Mary and saints and Jesus when there was no J.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but here's the thing. Even when people like me point, that's the other thing. You got the group that's now talking about what I've been talking about for years, but won't tell people where they got it from so that they can come get the information too, because they're on an agenda too.
Yep.
And everything is about the agenda, and they're going to go down. You see what I mean? Um, it's the here's the thing. They use the when I read, we'll go through the woman to destroy everything so that we can control everything. That's what they did. And the women won't ever see it is because their thirst and lust for power is insatiable. So the more power they give them, the more power they want. And everything is being destroyed. And they don't care because it's power. It's all about power.
Everything they've taken over, everything they've ran, controlled, ruled, failed. Everything.
But see, they got power without having the see, they think this one woman says something. She's like, I agree with it. And women don't have any privileges. Women have nothing but privilege in the United States. What she mean to say is women don't have the power that they want, and they don't have the power that they want because they're not the feminine women that they need to be to have the power that they want. A lot of women's power used to come from their feminine, but now since these jokers act like men, the men ain't the men don't feel like they don't have to do crap for them. The men are now aware of them, and then there's nothing they can do to make the man do anything because the men don't want to. They threw away sex, so men don't want to have sex anymore, right? Because it's too risky. Not with them. They rather save up their money, go to another country, and retire there than be around these women here. Look at the United States soccer team, the women's soccer team. They got paid based on their contract. They were able to, and the men, it was the deal they needed. The men, like, if we pay us. If we play and win or go, pay us. They didn't win. They didn't go. But during this pandemic, they didn't get any money. The women's soccer team did, right? They're still suing, thinking that the dudes got zero money,
And then
but that
complain.
ain't good. The dudes got zero money, and the women got hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. The women's soccer team, national soccer team. All right. And that ain't good enough for them because they think they should get what they think they could have gotten had they had another deal instead of the deal they negotiated and signed, which means that integrity, honesty, loyalty, it means nothing to them. It means absolutely nothing to them. It's about securing the bag, and it's about privilege. Because here's the thing. They don't want equality, because if you want the man's strength, if you want up, then you get all the stuff that comes with it. Oh, that's called responsibility. They want authority with. I want the man's authority, but when something goes wrong as a result of my decisions, I want to be able to blame it on the man.
And they've gotten that so far.
Oh, but men are waking up and they're like, no more. And see, they don't like that. So anybody else want to come on and have something else to say? Because I'm gonna have to cut this off.
Oh yeah.
Anybody else? Any other takers? If not, okay. Hey, if y'all care about what I do in the community, I'm gonna say this one more time because I probably should. You know what? Y'all probably need to take care of yourself for right now, and I need to probably cut down on what I'm giving for the moment, because y'all probably need to chill on the donations, which most of you are chilling on the donation, but I'm not going to ask right now for donations. And this, I'm gonna have to, because I'm in a better position than a lot of people that watch my channel. And I was just thinking about it. I might have to slow down and chill out on the soccer balls, giving out soccer balls for a while, because this situation in this country is really effed up, and it's going to F up a lot of people. And some of my plans are falling through because of the wickedness here. You can't trust nobody here. And we're talking about the business people, like the realtor we talked about. So with that said, y'all, I will say that don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't, click that thumbs up. And if you have any more comments, hey, comment in the comment section and let me know what y'all think. All right. So with that said, I'm out. Peace, love, and soul. I'll holler at y'all at the next one.